We're counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're live.
Welcome to Church Biz. I am your host, Reverend Patrina McClure. I do so thank you for tuning in on today's special runoff election episode with Ms. Mandisha Thomas. We'll introduce her in just a few more seconds, but if you will follow us on the regular at WCEG Network, you can do that by Facebook or on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. We also have joining us is Ms. Damita Chapman of the Citizens for Excellence in Elected Leaders. She'll be doing our one-on-one town hall meeting with Ms. Thomas. So thank you again for being with us. Hi, Ms. Thomas, how are you?
I'm great, and you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for being a part of today's show. Can you tell our listeners about you, where you're from, your family life, so on and so forth?
Sure. Well, of course, I'm a candidate for state representative of House District 65, which includes Palmetto, Douglasville, Fairburn, South Fulton, and Union City. I've lived in the city, which is now the city of South Fulton, for 15 years. I'm originally from Oakland, California. I went to Grambling State University and got my bachelor's in political science, and I went to Central Michigan University and got my master's in administration. My mom is here with me from Oakland, California. My dad is still at home, and I have 5 sisters and brothers.
Awesome, awesome. So you have a huge family support.
I do, all the way from the West Coast. I just made a call to them about my contributions.
Awesome, awesome. So what brought you to Georgia?
Well, I originally wanted to be in DC in the metro area. My mom was a little scared for me to go to DC, thought it was a little dangerous, but I had a bachelor's degree in political science and I wanted to be in the DC area with that degree. And she said, why don't you just come to Atlanta? It's still a metro area, but it's much calmer and it's an entrepreneur state. You can start your business. I said, okay. I actually came to Atlanta in the late 90s. I did 1 year. When my lease was up, I got in my little red Cavalier and I was headed to Washington, D.C. I rented out a room, found a job, and thought that I was going to be in politics or work on Capitol Hill, and 911 hit. When 911 hit, I heard the Lord say, come back to Atlanta. You couldn't get a job in DC because you didn't have the proper security clearance to even work those jobs. Most of those jobs are governmental contracts. So you would have people on the job that could only do 50% of their job, but still get paid 100%, of course. And so it just wasn't a lot of opportunity anymore. And so Atlanta was still flourishing, and I came on back.
Awesome. The Lord has a way of talking to us.
He does.
Yes, it's good to know that you are plugged in with him, that you're committed to having a relationship with the Lord, which I'm quite sure plays out in the things that you do. A lot of people want to separate church and politics. Well, there is politics in religion as well, and we're very well aware of that. But who are in, or what cities are again enclosed in District 65?
Chattahoochee Hills, about 17% of Douglasville, Fairburn, Palmetto, Union City, and South Fulton. And so a couple of those cities, I have almost all the majority of it, but most of them I share with other legislators.
Awesome, awesome. That's interesting to know. I live in Douglasville, so now I have more direction. Thank you. As you represent us, what is the job of the state representative?
Well, there's 2 main things, and that is to pass a balanced budget, as well as create and pass legislation. So those are the two main duties. You do have a district that actually sends you to the Capitol to represent the entire state of Georgia. But the two duties are budget and legislation. And then you can also do some local ordinances or some local legislation specifically for your district.
Okay, since you're running against an incumbent, has that added a different nuance to this particular political campaign?
This is a major race. It's a historical race. The incumbent has been in office for 28 years, over a quarter of a century. And incumbents such as the one I'm running against, they don't go to runoffs. They win right out, 60, 80%, regardless of how many people are in the race. So there was 3 of us, and now that we've got that out the way, we can run toe to toe. But yeah, so there are huge dynamics. This is a race that everybody can't run. Everyone cannot go up against a giant, as I call it. And I say a giant because the incumbent's voice has been reigning in this region for 28 years, reigning over 6 cities. And let me tell you why it's so important that we have the right legislator in this seat. When Damita and I were fighting for cityhood, the city of South Fulton, for several months, I was saying to myself, this is a gold mine. The city of South Fulton is a gold mine. And I ran for city council, and I would talk about international economic development. They said, Mandisha, you're going over people's heads. All we need is somebody that can transition this city over. And you run around talking about international economic development. But that's what I saw. I knew that this was a gold mine, but it wasn't until 2018 that I realized it's not just the city of South Fulton, it's the whole South Fulton County is a gold mine. And that's why District 65 seat is so important, because there's 8 cities in the South Fulton County. Now it's a little bit of Southwest Atlanta, so I'll just give you like a little portion of that, but it's 8 full-fledged cities. District 65 has 5 of the 8. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of authority. That's someone that's sitting at the seat that has a seat at the table, because everybody has a seat at the table. Once you become an elected official, you assign a seat at the table and it has a number. In this case, it'd be 65. And it was a long time that we would fight to have a seat at the table, but it's no more just having it. We need someone that's there that can walk away with something from the district. That's the question. What are you walking away from the table with? And in my opinion, it's been almost absolutely nothing. Almost absolutely nothing. So it is imperative that I take this seat, because I have the voice, the passion, and the progressiveness to move South Fulton County to where I know it is. That international economic development that I was running on in 2017 is not null and void. It still reigns true today. Everything that I was preaching about as a council, wanting to be a council person, smart growth, quality healthcare, it's all the same. It's just now that I'm able to do it on a higher level as state representative for House District 65.
Okay. Out of curiosity, have you held political office before? Is that what you are saying?
I've never held political office before. I've worked on many, many campaigns. Matter of fact, my first campaign was with Nancy Pelosi when she ran for state representative in San Francisco. One of my mom's best friends was her campaign manager. So I was sitting there at that time licking envelopes. We don't do that anymore. We have mail houses that we push things through. But that's what I was doing in a huge warehouse. And that's one of my indirect mentors, because although she's not mentoring me physically, I'm still watching her, and we see where she is today. We see where Nancy Pelosi is today. She went to the majority whip. Now she's the Speaker of the House, and now she's carrying this pandemic for us, slight of our president. But we won't get into too much of that, will we?
No, we'll leave that alone. All right. So what are the other promises that you have for the residents of the counties you'll be representing?
I'm running on environmental justice, quality health care, and I've added youth workforce development into that. and I've been pushing food deserts. The federal government, the USDA, has deemed 3 areas in District 65 as a food desert. When I ran against the incumbent in 2018, she said in a forum that I don't know, I quote, "I don't know what a food desert is. If you don't have transportation for food, you can order it online." Well, that just went right over the incumbent's head because we are in a desperate situation, and it's not just because of the pandemic. We've always had a broken supply chain. And what's so funny about it is that Georgia's #1 industry is agriculture. So why is South Fulton County in a food desert? Now, I had a friend call me the other day. She said, "Mandisha, you talk about these food deserts, but you run it into the ground. I need you to talk about how well you're going to work with the South Fulton delegation and how you're going to move as a unit." I'm just paraphrasing, what she said. But it was funny to see how she thinks that I'm running it into the ground. But my perspective is I'm worried about what's not coming out of the ground. What needs to be coming out of the ground to sustain our bodies, to nourish our minds. I said it before and I say it all the time. Somebody said, "Don't say it like that. You might offend somebody." But the truth is the truth, and we've got to stop playing here and get more aggressive about what we're doing, especially if you're going to have an elected seat. I enjoy a fish fry. I love fish. I eat fish 2-3 times a week. But I need more than a fish fry and a backpack drive from any elected official, not alone a 28-year incumbent that is supposed to have the reports and the infrastructure to build and create in this district because of her longevity. It's just not happening. So yes, I'm pushing the food deserts and ending food deserts in South Fulton County, period. I'm pushing environmental justice. Just last month, they had to shut down Georgia Highway 92 on the border of the Douglas County line because of a chemical spill. These chemical spills happen all the time. Just last month, no, I think that was this month, but last month, I think it was 80 million gallons of 2 South Fulton creeks. That's going into our water, our sewer system. Any legislator or any elected official who's speaking up towards these environmental issues in South Fulton County, I can't count one. The only one that I know that was speaking about it was Commissioner Emma Darnell, and bless her heart, she's gone. And when I created the Apple a Day Mobile Unit Health Fair of Georgia, I honor Emma Darnell for that. I dedicated to her because she was the only one talking about health disparities in South Fulton County.
All right. Well, just so that you're aware, there are food deserts in Douglasville, but anyway, that's another story. What are your plans to partner with organizations like the faith community and other social service agencies in order to combat some of those issues that you're drawing to our attention?
Yes, I want to build a consortium of nonprofits to work on these issues. The one thing that I have spoken to one nonprofit organization in South Fulton about the agricultural workforce that I want to create. We have all this undeveloped land, and it's mostly in District 65. I want to create a youth workforce in agriculture. They're saying there's a bill, a gaming bill, bringing the gambling industry to Georgia, and it's been floating around since 2016, 2017. I mean, it's just been floating and floating and floating, and it's looking more and more attractive to some legislators because what they're essentially saying is, you as a high school student could be coming out of high school making $50,000. I understand the need to want to make $50,000. I wasn't making $50,000 out of undergrad. I wasn't making $50,000 after I got my master's. But glory to God, I am an entrepreneur of over 10 years and sustaining myself. But so I understand the need to make $50,000, and that's a lot here in Georgia, and a lot at that age. But these agricultural jobs that I'm saying we can bring to spur out of District 65 for the entire state of Georgia is ranging from $68,000 to $124,000. We can train our young people on doing that now instead of worrying about the gambling industry right now that can bring a whole host of social issues to us. So that's one thing I want to push with, like you said, the nonprofits and civic and social organizations to help me get this through. I've been talking to farmers. I have a biologist on the team. I've spoken to Aerotropolis, their workforce development manager on this, and everybody's on board. They just sit back waiting to see, is Mandisha Thomas going to take this seat?
I hear you. All right. There are a lot of thoughts about that gaming industry. I know that a lot of those companies come in with those big mega promises, like you said, a high schooler graduating and earning $50,000. Well, we know that that doesn't happen. As well, they redirect tax funds and they profit, and the cities supporting these ordinances don't make the money that they were promised. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So it's a lot of work to be done, and it's more than just you as the representative doing it. The bottom line is we as citizens, we have to plug in and do our part. Doing something is better than doing nothing. So how do the citizens of all of the cities get in touch with you and your platform? How do we find out more information about what you are doing as our representative?
Yes, I am on Facebook, Thomas for 65. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, Thomas for 65. Actually, Facebook is Mandisha Thomas for House District 65. My website is mandishathomas.com. My direct line is 678-310-9380. I am taking calls from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily until August 11th. And you can also email me at electmandishathomas.com.
Awesome. I'm going to give the floor over to Damita Chapman because I know she's here to do that one-on-one with you. Ms. Chatman, will you now join the floor?
Yes, again, I want to thank the host. I want to thank Mandisha. And me and Mandisha, we worked on cityhood for years, and we fought the good fight. And before I go any further, I didn't put Mandisha on my slate the first go around, and it was for different reasons, not because I didn't think Mandisha would do a great job, political reasons. But when we got to the runoff, I had to go into prayer to make sure that I be led the right way. Yes. So right now, Mandisha don't know, but I'm going to let her know that I have been directed by the Spirit to endorse her for elected Citizens for Excellence in Elected Leaders. And we proudly endorse Mandisha to get over the finish line in District 65. And I know Mandisha would do a great job. She's a hard worker. She's a friend. And matter of fact, me and Mandisha had a conversation maybe a couple weeks ago, I think, Mandisha, and I call her to have a wine and little voice. And she was asking me questions, and I was like, Mandisha, you just run your race. That's all I ask you, to run your race. And some people might say, well, why did you do this? Well, it's not about Mandisha, and it's not about me. It's about the people. Mm-hmm. And when they went back to the Capitol in the last week to do the budget, it was two things that I expected our representatives to do, was to sign the two bills that was important for the city of South Fulton. And when I got the bill last Saturday, and I realized that those bills was not voted on, I had to make a tough decision to get somebody in office that's going to represent the people in 65. Again, it's not about Mandisha, it's about the citizens of 65. And so I'm proudly to say that we're on board to get her across the finish line August 11th. Mandisha Thomas. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. How do you feel about that endorsement, Mandisha?
That's excellent. I feel great about that because it is the people, and that's my tagline. It's the people seat, and it truly is. And I said it before in a formal debate. This whole thing is not about me. You said something earlier as well. Government is we didn't create government. Government is of God. His kingdom is set up with generals and and so forth. I don't want to get too much into it, but I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing it for my legacy. I'm doing it because I'm assigned to do this. And you brought up the people earlier that they need to play their role. And I said it before that you hear elected officials all the time, especially legislators, because it's not bipartisan. And you hear elected officials all the time say, I work across the aisles. I work with the Democrats. I work with the Republicans. I'm across the aisles, and we working across the aisles. And I'm like, but what about that middle? The middle is the nucleus, and that's the people. Are you working with the people? And I can't say that many people are working with the people. But I definitely can say that District 65 representative is not working with the people. And I am already working with the people. And that's something that I'll continuously do because it's people out there that's smarter than me, that's smarter than all these elected officials. It's just they're not built to be the representative. They may have the intellect, but they're not built to be the representative or to lead. And so you only have one leader, but that leader has to work with the flock. You have to work with the citizens. You have to work with the community because that's what this is all about. It's all about the community, period. What's a law that doesn't govern a community? You don't make laws that don't govern communities. It's about the people.
You know, that is rather interesting how you put that. The bottom line you're saying is, I'm not too proud to hear what those who are equipped to hear and do or see, and pull all those resources together in order to create a win-win situation for District 65.
Exactly. And I'm also saying I'm not locked in to a title because the Lord said, I'll make your name great and give you nations, and not the title great. So when I do win this seat, I'm not going to be State Representative Mandisha Thomas. I'm going to be Mandisha Thomas, the state representative.
Amen. And that's one thing. God has to endorse us in whatever we do in order for us to be successful. And it's clear that you go to him for guidance and direction. You know, we all struggle with our pride issues and our egos periodically. But when you have the habit of surrendering to the Holy Spirit's will in whatever you do and say, I know that you'll be praying for the people, that you have prayed for the people, and that you'll be doing what is best within your scope of influence.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Amen. Are there any parting words? I know we only have a few minutes with you on today because I know you have to go hit the beaten path called the re-election campaign, but are there any other things that you would like the listeners to know about Mandisha Thomas?
Just that you won't be disappointed. I have my assignment. I have my own white papers that I've been working on. I'm coming in with a plan. I'm not fiddling my thumbs. I'm not trying to find the bathrooms. I know the process. I'm coming in hitting the ground running. And I got people that's just waiting on me. Other legislators, not even in South Fulton. I've already been in contacts with them. They just need a conduit that can come in and push the agenda that we need to have. You can expect nothing but excellence. What I don't know, I'm a quick study and I can find out. I put on stellar events. I understand the district. I understand the needs. And the bottom line is I can get things done, period. Everybody can't get things done. I'm one that can. I have a proven track record of it. I'm not leaning on nobody. I'm not riding on nobody's coattail. I'm not asking nobody to put me on a flyer and I didn't bring nothing to the table. I am Mandisha Thomas for the people of District 65, and we're going in. And when I get there, the only thing I can say is the state of Georgia would have just upgraded.
All right. I like that. Ms. Chapman.
So Mandisha, before you get off, and I heard that I like what you just said. I'm gonna have I got two questions. So, and you just answered, but I want to hear you say it. So once you get over into that under the dome, you're going to be able to work with everyone. Learn the path, sit back, watch, listen, look, and learn, and make sure, and I've heard in the past how people egos get touching each other and they don't want to do, but I'm confident that you'll be able to work with everyone, especially the South Fulton delegation. Again, I look for good things out of you. I'm going to hold you accountable. We're going to hold you accountable. And then when you don't do what you're supposed to do, we're going to make sure we call you on the carpet. But I know and hope and pray that you will not disappoint the citizens of South Fulton, because working with you during the cityhood movement, I know where your heart is. I can honestly say I know where your heart is. Sometimes me and you didn't disagree. We didn't agree on everything, but I know where your heart is. So I look forward to working with you, and you go out and do what you do and get those votes.
Well, I appreciate that. Early voting does start July 20th through August 7th. You can absentee vote. We don't expect the lines to be just what it was, but please don't let voter suppression stop you. We have almost 3 weeks of early voting, and you should be able to zoom in and zoom out, but can you bring 100 people with you? Lock down your street and your subdivision. Everybody has to be voting Thomas if we're going to beat this thing. We're going in, but we need you to come out and vote. Again, do not let voter suppression stop us. Come out and vote, but most of all, vote for Mandisha Thomas.
All right. And everybody, don't forget that the runoff election is August 11th.
Yes.
So whatever you do, August 11th, you already have something to do, which is to go out and vote for Mandisha Thomas.
Right.
This is your host of Church Biz, Reverend Patrina McClure, with the lovely Mandisha Thomas and our friend, Ms. Damita Chapman of Citizens for Excellence in Elected Leadership. We do thank you for tuning in for today's show, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.